think it's all glamour and it's all this and celebrities.
No, I mean, you're a commodity, right? You're something that the studio owns. And so, really, as long as you survive filming and they've gotten what they needed from you, they don't really care if you drop dead afterwards. It doesn't matter. Do you break an arm, break a leg? And you know, things like when you're working, you can get really sick. As long as you're not bleeding from your face, you're gonna keep working, and people don't understand that. And then in terms of, there's no regard for your physical safety or well-being at all, because it doesn't matter, because you're a means to an end. So they need what they need from you, and then goodbye. You know, suck it up, tough it up, and we'll see you for the next one.
Yeah, shortly after that, I met Marilyn at a party at Gene Kelly's house, and then she told me, she said, watch out for the wolves in Hollywood, honey. And I said, well, I've been in British films for 3 years, I can handle wolves. And she said, well, not the power bosses, honey. And she said, if they don't get what they want, they'll drop your contract. They've done it to lots of gals. And most of these men, Holly, were fat and old and ugly and hideous. I was a little shocked hearing about Marilyn, because apparently Marilyn had been so abused by men and had done so many things to get roles that she hadn't wanted to do.
She didn't want to be the sexy girl in the movie. She wanted to have more substance, right?
Really?
And she felt a little degraded by the way Michael Bay would have her run around with her boobanties out. She wanted to do more. When Michael Bay spoke to GQ magazine, she told them that he told them, you know the Hitler thing? Steven Spielberg said, fire her right now.
I think when anything comes out about you that you disagree with, that you think is not true, you feel the urge that you want to, like I said, defend yourself. You want to jump on your Twitter page or jump on your Facebook and like.
But you don't have any of those to
I don't
jump
have
on,
an
Megan.
outlet.
You've
I can't
got no
do it.
outlet. You only have here. This is it. This is your moment.
It's not,
know, it isn't a comfortable, fun thing, but I know that that experience was not that way with my crew. I loved my crew, and I had two great experiences making the Transformer movies. And it was an anonymous letter. It could be anyone. It could be somebody that works at Cracker Barrel in Florida. Like, who knows who it is? But it's not true, and my crew knows it's not true, and my producers know it's not true, and you know, it's unfortunate that it would change public opinion. That, of course, hurts my feelings. I don't ever want people to think I'm difficult to work with or that I'm a bitch, because I try to go out of my way to make people feel comfortable.
Everybody. They controlled the media, they controlled the police, they controlled the district attorney, they controlled the doctor that Patricia Douglas was taken to after she was raped. His whole business depended on MGM. So he got to court and he said, well, I can't say that she was raped, but I can't say she wasn't raped.
With this new world order, also along with the military aspect of the Junud, or the minions, or the armies, is the propaganda war that takes place. And really, in the Western Hemisphere, this war has been going on for a very long time to literally control the minds of human beings, to take over the thought processes of human beings. I mean, there has been massive studies since the 1950s in mind control. The Americans became very interested in mind control after the Korean War because of certain American soldiers that were brainwashed during that period. And that term actually begins to arise in, it becomes in military jargon, the idea of brainwashing individuals. Some of the American soldiers that were taken prisoner in the Korean War literally began to propagate on the radio and broadcast to American troops communist propaganda. It turned out it had been worked on very severely by Russian and Chinese manipulators. The Americans became very interested in this. They wanted to understand what exactly was taking place, and they began to study this a lot. They found certain patterns in terms of brainwashing people. One of them was repetition, to constantly repeat over and over again. And this is something that the corporate world has taken up. The idea of jingles in advertisements and these things. This continual repetitive nature of advertising, literally getting people to constantly be reminded through jingles, oftentimes using rhyme jingles and these type of things. Also certain images. There have been studies that have been done in terms of the neurological effects of viewing pornography that are very frightening. And unfortunately, these have been done at major universities in the United States. I don't know about the European research. The studies that have been done in Stanford indicate some very frightening results of people that watch pornography, the effects that it has not only on behavior, what is termed cognitive dissonance, and the actual attitudinal changes that take place in order for a self to maintain integrity after being exposed to this constant sensual bombardment. So this is all part of this. Now Hollywood plays a very important role in this, and we can see the marriage between the political and the media aspects, especially in the United States. The politicians and the media people are very much entrenched in each other's business. Hollywood itself is a word. The word is interesting because it's a word that comes from a pagan Hollywood is the holy wood, and it was the wood that the magical wands were made out of in the pagan sorcery, magic. And these wands were believed that the sorcerers that possessed them could put people into trances and control them. This is part of, I mean, this is symbolic, but it's also important to understand that part of what Hollywood literally does is it puts people into trances. It's a dream state. They call it the dream machine in the United States. And it creates fantasies for people. It puts people into these sleep. Now, one of the things is interesting that in the part of what's done in movie theaters, in darkened rooms where people watch television, is literally a trance state that occurs. It's what's called suspended state of disbelief. You enter into a state, you suspend your disbelief and enter into a state whereby you begin to believe what you internally realize is imagination. It's falsehood. Films are magic. It's just magic. You go and you watch these things and people get caught up in them. People cry during films. All this catharsis that takes place in these things. Many of the films, and this is an important element in the control mechanism, is literally allow people to go and have certain type of catharsis as a purging experience, which Aristotle talks about the necessary element. One of the necessary elements of tragedy is to create this cathartic experience. And this is why a lot of the films, especially also news and things like this is why news is very important in this culture. Everybody watches the news, they have this tragic, cathartic experience of watching the tragedies of others and then feeling safe and complacent in their own experience of this suspended state of illusory well-being. So these are very intricate and sophisticated methods. Now, I think it's dangerous. Although there are elements, there's concerted efforts that take place, there's also a lot of people that have similar worldviews that aren't necessarily working together in concerted efforts.